Do my eyebrows look weak?
No, they look strong. They look like a woman who's done her research on the NHS and is about to give me some info.
Croeso I Welsh Wednesdays with me, Kiri, Pritchard-McLean, and with Katie Gill-Williams.
Hi, pal.
I love this. This week it's my turn, and I would like to talk about the Tredegar Medical Aid Society, which is the foundation, really, or one of the inspirations. We'll get onto that a little bit later for the fantastic NHS. Hence my lovely badge here.
Cracking badge. Very jealous.
It's nice. It's for a lovely company called Let Us Pretend, and they make really good capes for kids, and for adults as well, because I've got one. But she made me this, which is so lovely. Fun fact: I tried to wear it on Iaith ar Daith, and they made me take it off.
No, how too political.
Well, this is the weird thing: is I don't really understand the thinking behind it. I think maybe they were just erring on the side of caution, but I don't know what's political about an organisation we all pay for. It's like, being pro schools. That's what I didn't understand. And also, Maggie Noggy, my mentor, the other side of Maggie is that, she works in the NHS. Chris works in the NHS. So, yeah, it was a bit sort of like, I think they were just being careful, but it felt very weird because also the NHS is one of the things that is rated most highly that British people are proud of. So, yeah.
It's up there for me.
In 1890 in Tredegar, it's a sort of a steelwork industrial town in South Wales. And in 1890, basically, there was all these sort of philanthropic societies that had members. And some would sort of cover if you went to a hospital, some would cover if you died, they'd cover your funeral, and you'd pay in a little bit. So a couple of these societies merged and they made the Tredegar Medical Aid Society. So it started off with about 3,000 members, and they were largely employees at the Tredegar Iron and Coal Company, which was the big, massive employer in the town. And so what they do is they hired a doctor, and a doctor would basically see them because there was a lot of illness because there was, coal dust in the air, so a lot of lung problems. So the idea was, listen, you pay a little bit in, and we'll make sure that there's a doctor on site that you can see. So it was sort of treated like a company perk, but it's not because they are still paying for it, which is actually something that the steel workers and the people down the mine started to resent. They're like, hold on, we're paying for this and we're being dictated to about who can see them and what level of service that we're getting. So they didn't have any control over it. So in the sort of very, very late 1800s, early 1900s, a load of places in South Wales with mines in particular, the workers took over the workmen's committees and said, right, we need to make this really work for us if we're paying for it. So they basically revolutionised how it worked. In 1904, they built a cottage hospital in Tredegar, so anyone with a very bad complaint was able to go there. They also extended it to cover not just members who were employees of the steel and coal works, but the members of their family as well, which suddenly, if you think about most people, that is a hugely important thing. Most people don't care about their own health, they care about the health of their families. So it became a massive thing. And then they started to say, okay, anyone in the town who can afford to be a member, you can sign up as well. So the richer people in the town, the middle class people, signed up. And also, I have to say, in defense of the sort of doctor who was operating when it was just the ironworks taking care of it, people who were on higher wages paid more, and it subsidized people on the lower wages who got the same level of care. So there was an element of sort of I guess what Americans would call socialized medicine to it. They would pay for a doctor, and then they had surplus, and they're like, we've got money left over then, so rather than sitting on it, let's employ someone else. And they extended it. So the cost when it was first started was half a penny a week, and then in 1909 it went up to 1 penny a week. And then everyone started to sort of talk about it. In about 1911, everyone was like, have you seen what they're doing down there? And it became sort of nationally recognised as a high watermark of care, because by this time they didn't just pay for the doctor, they paid for 5 doctors, a surgeon, 2 pharmacists, a physiotherapist, a dentist, and a district nurse. And this all happened from about 1915 because they employed a guy called Walter Conway, who worked there until he died in 1933, and he pushed it forward and was like, listen, we can care for more people, we can do more things for them, we can give, it was all sorts. You could get, false teeth, you could get operations done, you could get wigs even, they were just basically really expanding how much of people's lives and health that they cared for. Car that they owned, they would put you in the car, they would take you to a train station, you'd pick up your first class train ticket, and it would take you to Newport, Swansea, or Cardiff, wherever you were going for your medical care, and they would make sure you got there the other side. So it was all part of this amazing service that's like, you are sick, we are here to take care of you. And it even in the interwar depression, so in the 30s, they extended it amazingly and said, right, anyone who's unemployed, because there's mass unemployment, we will take care of you as well. We will keep paying, and we will make sure that you don't die of a sickness that can be cured on our watch.
I wonder if, because it's such a community startup, I guess, and starts, I wonder if that can only happen in somewhere like a village in South Wales, because if you're in like big industrial towns, that sense of looking after each other might just be a little bit lost. So there's something really organic, and it's lovely. It's incredible that these people decided to do that for each other.
The MP for Tredegar was born in Tredegar at the time, and he was Aneurin Bevan, who's very famous because he was the Minister of Health, and he is part of the 1945 government with Clement Attlee, who basically after the war went, right, let's start again and build this country better. And one of the things they did was to introduce the National Health Service that we know today. He said, he's famously quoted, but no one can find where he said it. He said, I'm going to Tredegarise you about the UK, because he had grown up with this great sort of system. And apparently, like, there were these big, like in the doctors, these big long shiny benches that were really polished, and everyone would sit on them, and you start at one end and move your way along, and sometimes your appointment would be at 8, but you wouldn't be seen till 11. But people used to chat and knit and sort of get to know each other, and it was quite a community thing. And if the doctor was really late because they'd been taken into surgery, everyone would just go, that's okay, because they were all buying into this thing that they believed in, and they believed in looking after each other. What's really interesting is he was the MP for Tredegar when he got brought in, and he in 1948 the NHS got brought in, and Tredegar didn't actually want to get rid of the medical society. A lot of them wanted to keep it because it was theirs, and they built it, and it did such a good job. But then obviously people don't want to pay for things twice, and a lot of people didn't have a lot of money. So the drop off once the NHS came in was massive, and Nye Bevan who was a massive hero obviously in the town, and met with the local community, and they were like, we'd like to keep it. And he said of the Medical Aid Society, the quote is, you've shown us the way, and by your very efficiency you've brought about your own cessation. To cease something, yeah, cessation.
I don't know what that word is.
Cessation. End. It kept going till 1994.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's when it ended. There was still 114 members when it sort of wound up, who were paying 18p a week, and the remaining money that was left in the pot when it ended got sent to a local hospital, which I think is a beautiful thing. So it's this gorgeous idea of taking care of each other that has led to this amazing institution that we all owe a debt to. So either us or someone we love very deeply is here because of the NHS. They have in Tredegar now aren't to do with lungs and things like that. It's because it's quite a poor area that's been left behind. There's a big mental health crisis. They are struggling to attract doctors, so there's fewer and fewer doctors in the town because In fact, one doctor I was reading an article with, he had to come out of retirement because his partners left and he couldn't replace them. And he was like, well, I can't stop being a doctor. There's no one to take care of these people. So I feel a little bit for Tredegar in a way, that it had this thing it created, everyone copied it, and then it's been sort of, just because of it's a victim of its geography and its circumstances and whatever, and the world, it's now at risk again.
Yeah, gosh, that is a really sad irony. You're right, it's one of the things that I am most proud of. I think it's world leading. Loads of other countries define the UK with their NHS, and they're envious of it. They think it's incredible. I just want us to cherish it. And you're right, not listen to the media stories, because that's the propaganda that they want to perpetuate, that the NHS is failing. So slowly sections of it can become privatized. Sometimes I think we're so privileged and entitled that an hour's wait will be so inconveniencing. Like, how dare they make us wait for that? But look at what you've got access to. And it's like that broken window syndrome. If like just a load of broken windows are left in a street, eventually that becomes the mindset. So if we keep talking it down enough, it's just going to be framed as this absolutely broken institution. But it just needs a bit more respect and a bit more care, ironically.
Don't get me wrong, it's so overstretched, but that's not because people aren't working hard. I think that what they're doing with the money they have is incredible, and the gap is filled with goodwill and people working 2 hours after they should have gone home and coming in on their days off, and just all that stuff. And yeah, I think it's basically just the big hearts of the people who work in the NHS that are keeping us safe.
Dwi eisiau deud ydy, mae NHS yn yna am fi ers ro'n i'n ifanc, ro'n i'n teenager, a rwan, a'n gobeithio mae'n yna am fi trwy i fy'n wedi marw. Dwi'n rili cael llawer o parch am pobl pwy sy'n gweithio am y NHS, a dwi'n meddwl dan ni'n lwcus iawn i cael institution fel hon. Mae'n leaderffordd dros y byd, mae nhw'n rili caredig amdan pobl, a mae'n hyfryd i dysgu amdan Tredegar Medical Society, a'n rili falch iawn achos roedd yn dechrau yn y Cymru a'n reflective of pwy sy'n byw yma. Mae'n cymunedol, mae pobl yn caredig, so mae'n make sense i cael the start of the NHS in Wales.
Yeah, great. I think you said that the NHS has looked after you through like being born and being a teenager and now and also when you die, and that it's something you're very proud of, and you like that it came from Wales and reflects that this is a place where people sort of care for each other.
Yes, yn union, exactly that.
Dwi'n meddwl mae'n anhygoel i meddwl amdan Tredegar Medical Aid Society, achos dwi ddim yn imagine amser cyn NHS o gig, achos am fi y gig ydy wastad yma, a wastad caredig is it kind, but is it care? What's wastad yma am fi a fy teulu, ond dwi'n meddwl y straeon amdan y Medical Aid Society ydy dipyn bach o trist, achos dwi'n meddwl mae cymdeithas yn
strong?
gryf iawn, a efo lawer o grym i helpu pobl yn y lleol, o pobl yn yr ardal a pobl lleol, a eto a wedyn penderfynu i helpu pobl unwaith, dwi'n meddwl. Am yr amser pan pobl ddim yn cael lawr o arian, a mae'n anhygol i meddwl amdan ysbrydol o pobl wedyn, ond rwan mae gen i theori, achos dwi'n meddwl mae'n problem mawr, achos lawer o bobl cael horror story amdan NHS, ond dwi'n meddwl mae'n bwysig i cofio, mae ni'n lwcus iawn i cael, pethau efo llawer o rhinwedd yn y canol. Yn y canol. And, the theory, pan mines a, pits, cae, llawer o pobl sy'n cyn weithio Gill-Williams stopio, a'r pobl dechrau dim yn caredig amdan pobl eraill, a dechrau I'll say that I just had this theory that when people don't work together in big groups that way, it's harder to care about your fellow man who isn't your friend or your family. And that's why this is one of my, when I get drunk, I get on a high horse about this with Margaret Thatcher, but one of the unintended consequences of decimating manufacturing in the UK, as well as this making us less recession proof, less COVID proof, less lots of things proof, is that the idea of your neighbour and your common man, because you would work with thousands of people, just became a far off idea. Ond dwi'n meddwl gig ydi olaf bastion o, Gill-Williams, a, just the best of all of us.
I agree with that. I think basically my Margaret Thatcher yn twat iawn. And I think the legacy of the 80s and what she's done resonates and will resonate for years and years to come, because the NHS is built on that idea of, if she wants to say nanny state, but it is built on that idea that actually we're just giving a shit about each other. And I think you were saying that that's what you think's brilliant, that they all cared for each other in that community.
Penod nesaf, be 'di pwnc?
Dwi'n meddwl eisiau wneud rhywbeth amdan celf Cyffin Williams.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah?
Yeah, fi a fy nghariad wastad i mynd i Oriel Oriel Môn yn Llangefni? Yeah.
Yeah. Always go there.
Yeah, wastad. Achos the cafe does all right falafel.
Oh my God, have you had the chips yet?
I